would have to take me with her, and she would cut out of school or be smoking in the schoolyard, and then I would go home. Of course, I was 6 years younger than her, and I would tell my mother, Andrew was smoking.
And listen, not everybody's going to agree with my decision. I can give a fuck less. You're in that position, it's you who got to face it, then you do what you need to do.
Little Ciancaglini, he gets to the jail and
steal cars from Maryland and take them to Delaware to a chop shop.
The inside prison in Thailand, as well as what Victor Malarek, the reporter, did to get me out of there.
And I sat down and thought about it for the longest time, okay? But once I made up my mind, it was about survival. I need to take care of my kids and take care of my family. And when a guy's not being loyal to you, how could you be loyal to him?
Welcome to Chattin with Staxx. This episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Andrew DiDonato. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, Bill, what's going, brother?
I'm great. How have you been, man?
I'm doing okay, brother. The summer's been treating me okay. I'm just working, everyday grind, doing my thing. I was just telling you before on the previous phone call before we went on the air that, just trying to dip my toe back in the game as far as, I got something coming up in August. So, it'll be something I'm looking forward to. Hopefully it's going to be a strong documentary. And, I was on the fence for a while about doing it. I've been doing, just working. I didn't want to fuck up my apple cart with my job. I was making some decent money there. So I just, I didn't want to be sidetracked. So I want to be a distraction for anybody. So this was I just put it on the back burner for a minute. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. So hopefully by the end of the summer, I'll have something nice out there so people could hear it. Some other stories maybe they haven't heard or something like that. What about you, brother? What's up with you?
Man, I've been working my ass off. I've been putting in a lot of work, traveling all over the country. I've been doing interviews.
Yeah, bro. I seen you on the social media. I see you're everywhere now. You were doing a little bit of a world tour there. I see.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to make something happen. I know there's opportunities out there to be had, and I'm trying to take advantage of everything that's out there.
Well, the whole idea is, you just keep on. You don't know where that break's gonna come from. You just keep on moving, and one day somebody's gonna have the same mental stage you, the same idea, whatever. And then something good will happen from it. So just keep doing it, brother. You're not doing anything wrong. It takes time. It just takes time for everybody.
Definitely, I know. Yeah, nothing happens overnight. Nothing worth having comes easy.
No, 100%. And you see what's going on out there, bro. It's a shit show in the world now. It's a fucking shit show.
It really is.
What's going on there with politics, this, that. I never get into politics in my life, but what's going on out there now? We need some changes, brother.
Definitely.
My whole life, the way that I roll is it never really mattered who was president back in the day because we're out there getting ours regardless. But now things have changed, I'm working and, I got my own business, I'm doing some stuff. And it's you see, you're getting helped up, prices, everything is going up and all that kind of shit, First it was gas, now it's food, now it's everywhere you go, every business since COVID has been gouging people. No matter what it is, they're gouging because they found an opportunity to make a little bit more money than they had in the past. So everybody's running with it. And now it's got to the point where you got interest rates going crazy. So yeah, brother, it's going to take some time to get stuff done because it's going to be a lot worse out there soon. It's going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
I know. So at the height of your career in the mob, what was your main focus that you were doing? Who were the people you were around?
Well, my main focus was the guys I was around, as people may know already, is that I was around the Gambino Crime Family, and that was where my flag was. But I did business with all the guys from every family, out there. I had friends in the Lucchese family, I had friends in the Colombo family, I had good friends of mine in the Genevese crew. But I was around Nicky Carrazzo, my whole life, since a young teenager. And, so what I was basically trying to do then when I was in the height was make the money and stay alive. Because what people don't understand is when you start to make that money and you start to improve your earning, that's when you're at your most vulnerable. That's when you're in your most dangerous situation. because jealousy and envy kick in. You got people who want to take what you got. You got to be careful about who you're taking from, because there's a lot of guys out there who are going to claim guys that, you know, weren't really with them. You'll rob a guy who was a nobody, say, and all of a sudden somebody will step up saying he was with us so that they can get whatever they can get out of the deal. So you'll have guys coming out of the woodwork saying, hey, this guy's been with us for 10 years. He's my cousin, so other, whatever. And they'll lie because they're trying to get a piece of that earn. Either way, because they're trying to make a buck too. So, you know, it's like this. The more money you make out there, the more situations start to get complex. And they start to, you know, to really bear down on you. And all the wolves are out there watching your moves.
They try to finagle your money out of your pocket.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, the whole idea is it gets to the point where you can't even trust the guys that are close to you. And I ran into that situation. You know, I knew that I was doing dirt out there because I was doing dirt. And I didn't know that, you know, my superiors weren't happy with my moves, you know, because I wasn't following the rules.
Like what kind of stuff were you doing that they weren't happy about?
The whole idea was I was doing the bank robberies and stuff like that, and they you know, they had me under suspicion of not turning in enough money. Number one. Secondly, I was making, you know, moves with marijuana at the time. I had some guys with, you know, who moved cocaine, a whole bunch of other stuff, and you know, that's like taboo. That's a no-no. In our crew, you're not a drug pusher. We weren't drug pushers.
None of them sold drugs in your crew?
No, don't get me wrong, Staxx. I'm not going to tell you like it is. I'm going to tell you like this. They sold drugs, but they hid it under the guise of like they were shaking somebody down instead. Because if they had to go to a sit-down, they knew they couldn't win at a sit-down, because if you're a drug pusher, you're not going to get any wins. Other families, they okayed it. Other families turned their head to it. Nicky was straight up. There was no drug pusher. You ain't pushing dope. You ain't pushing none of that shit. You want to shake a guy down, you want to make a move, rob him and sell his shit, you do it. But the drug game was a no-no. But that's how it was, though. But here's the story. If you're strong enough to break the rules, you can break them all fucking day long. You know, you go to like, you know, John Sr. and those guys. You know, Gene and fucking Angelo Ruggiero. Those guys were selling junk, but they were strong enough to break those rules. And then when it was coming down to, you know, do or die, John stepped up and killed Paul. And that's just a scenario. That's just one scenario. But other families, it was, you know, it was business as usual. You know, guys got the green light to do that shit. For us, it was all about the shakedown. They were implementing us. You want to be involved with these people, you can shake them down. You can get a pay. You put them on record. And then this way, anybody in the neighborhood who's looking to hurt them will know that those guys are around us. But you couldn't come out saying that you were drug pushing in any way, shape, or form. So I was doing things. So I knew that it was going to bring a lot of heat. So I would stay away from Nicky as much as possible. But Nicky had these things where if you weren't around, he started to reach out for you. Like, you know, come back to the reservation, let me know what's happening, let me see what's going on. And a few times I had told him, I was on the run at the time. I was on the run. I had the FBI looking for me. I had New York State parole looking for me. I had BCI looking for me. I had all these state entities and federal entities chasing me. I was on the run for quite a while.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you're on the run, I don't care who you are. You're going to do whatever the fuck it takes to survive. And I did. I did whatever it took. I was shaking guys down. I was dropping fucking, you know, doing the bank stuff, doing some other things to earn, you know, and no stone was left unturned. I'm out there doing whatever. And when you do that, it's going to bring a lot of heat to you, and it's going to bring a lot of heat to the guys you're around. So I tried desperately to keep Nicky out of that loop. And he called me in a few times because I stepped out with a friend of mine and we robbed some guys who were making a move. We robbed some marijuana dealer for a big amount of pot and shit back then. You know, because back then it wasn't legal like it is today.
Yeah, it was lucrative.
It was very lucrative back in the day. And we made a big score. You know, we robbed like, I don't know, 500, 800 pounds, whatever it was. It was a nice little payday for us. And, you know, some guy came out of the woodwork saying that the shit was his, whatever, from another family, whatever. And it really, really set the stage on, you know, what was going to be happening in my life in the next few months after that, and it started to get hairy. Then he called me in, wanted me to give back some of the problems or whatever. I was like, man, that's just gone. I might have like 5 or 6 pounds left. You want me to hand that back? I will. See, the nigga was smart. He figured if I could hand back some of the product, he could go to those guys and say, listen, I got this back for you. Then he's going to charge them a little percentage for getting the shit back. And he's going to get an end from me for robbing the shit. So he's making a double earn.
Yeah.
It's a win-win for a guy like that.
Yeah, because they got to pay him for getting the stuff back, right?
Exactly. So for him, it was a win-win because he knew that he could get it from me, that I was going to do the right thing if I had it in my possession. And I would always do the right thing by him. I'm not going to go against him. And he knew that now that he's got them where he wants, he could either call in a favor or just charge them, whatever he wanted to do. And he could use that as a check. Either way, if he needed money, if he wanted to make a quick buck, he could do that. Or he could just say, you know what, now you owe me a favor, then sit down over something else, he's going to get the win. Or whatever it is. It's all political, brother. It's all political. But that's how that moves. So I would say in the height of what I was doing, I was just trying to stay alive, because at that point, there was a lot of jealousy and envy about what I was doing. I was making big money, and I was sort of like a lone wolf at the time. I was doing it on my own because I happened to be on the run at the time. So basically, that's it, Bill. You know what I mean? Basically, that's it. So during that time period, it was just about staying alive, because when you're making bigger money, you run into bigger problems. Remember that song from Biggie Smalls?
Yeah.
More money, more problems? That's 100% true. Because now you're in a different part of the pool. And when you're in the different part of the pool, at the deeper end of the pool, you're dealing with guys who are a lot more serious. You're dealing with guys who, there is no second chances. It's lights out.
Have you seen this with other people? Have you seen them do it to other people? And what have you seen?
Of course, I've seen it. Listen, I've lost a lot of friends who died way before their time for whatever reason or another. I see them die way before their time for, these things, every day, whether it be politics, whether it be jealousy, whether it be just plain old greed. Guys getting killed for their money, guys getting killed, for their positions or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's the life itself. In a nutshell, that's the life right there. And, some people, they can go their whole lives without it, affecting them in any sort of way. And then there's other guys, like even myself, like you look back upon it and I'm like, fuck, like what was my mindset? Like, I'm involved in so many better things now that when I look back upon it, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, was I really that fucking far gone? Was I really drinking the Kool-Aid for that long? Not to realize what the fuck I was doing, or the guys that I was around, how they were really thinking. These people didn't give a fuck if I lived or died. All they cared about was that what I was going to bring in, what they could take from me, and I was expendable when the time came.
So what's some of the treachery you notice from other people around you? Like, have you, because you're in the inside and you see what's going on. So 100%,
brother, 100%, yeah. I seen guys have conversations about, killing other guys just so they can make sure that there's not going to be any retaliations, or there's not going to be any. So guys who never really posed a threat yet, guys that never really, going to hunt guys just because you want to make sure that nothing's going to happen, just to make sure that there's not going to be anything coming down the line. And
like if they have a little bit of power behind them, they're going to cut them down before it comes to that.
A lot of guys get drunk with power too, bro. I mean, you look at guys like back in the day, you look at guys like Gas Pipe or whatever. Gas Pipe was just killing everybody, bro, and killing them. And some of these guys, if you start to think about it, you say to yourself, did this person really deserve that? No, he's killing these people because he wanted either their money, they weren't coming in to see him, he felt as though they weren't giving a piece of, big enough piece of something or whatever, and, people were going wayside, and he was following through with it, bro. He was shutting people's lights, and, you see that every day in the life, And,
have they ordered you to do hits before, right?
Yeah, of course, we, like I said, we had spoken about, that we were going to do work on John Jr. I brought that up, and there was I got scrutinized for it, like they were beyond doing it. Like, give me a fucking break. Like, I'm not going to pull this kid's name out of a fucking hat. Like, What the fuck? Give me a fucking break.
So how did they approach you about doing that?
No, just, you know, it was just in conversation. We were in a diner in Brooklyn, and Mickey was getting ready to take over the family. And there was some things going on back then. I think they were in the phone card business. There was a lot of money in phone cards back in the day. And Mickey was upset with them with something. And I remember him saying that, you know, there's going to be a lot of work to do soon. And we're going to start with that kid in Queens. And he used to call him Baby Huey. And he made reference to him. That's old news, bro. It really is. That's old news.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And and then other people will be skeptical about it, you know, this, that, or, well, they were friends. Bro, there's no friends in this life, bud.
How do you feel about these people now? How do you feel about Junior?
Mickey's always going to be a gangster, bro. Mickey came out of the womb. He was going to be a gangster, this guy. It's who he is. He's 80-something years old now. He's not going to change. He ain't changing for nobody. He's going to go into the grave a gangster, and that's just the way it is. But the harsh reality is, what kind of life is that going to be? He lost so many years in his life, and whatever the case may be. And, what price are you willing to pay? That's what it comes down to. And I was the same way, bud. I was the same way. I lived, ate, breathed, it was who I was. If you would have told me that I was going to cooperate with the government, we would have rolled around fucking ever. I would have fought you to my last breath. But as it turns out, I knew that, I was on a hit parade. I was going to get clipped, and that wasn't going to change. And they'll lie about that too. They'll say, oh, no, we loved him. He's fucking delusional. He just wanted to. Bro, I've been in jail my whole life. I give a fuck about jail. You understand? It wasn't about jail. I still did major time, whether I was cooperating on that. It wasn't like they let me go. Ain't nobody let me go here. I just wanted a different life for myself.
How did they approach you about cooperating? Or how did you approach them, and when did that happen?
That happened in 1997. They approached everybody, but I got pinched. The writing was on the wall. The FBI and everybody knew that I was on the hit parade, and they knew it. I knew it. They knew it was going to happen. I was going to be in a position to protect people that were going to take my life. I was going to do 40, 50 years in prison. For what? To come home to a bullet anyway? For what? Who am I protecting at that point? And I'm not sitting here trying to justify or whatever. It was my decision based off what I felt I had to do. For the next man, it might not be so. But for me, I couldn't beat them in the street. And I've been involved in a lot of violence, kid. So for me, it didn't matter. You want to go out and blaze of glory for what? Right? To be some fucking guy that they just talk about, oh, he had balls, but meanwhile you're dead. And, your kids without a father, your sisters without a brother, your mother's without a kid. And then what? You throw your life away? I already threw so many years of my life away. I just didn't want to do it no more. And so I'm okay to give them the streets. You have the streets. I'm going to make my money regardless because I go out there and I make it happen. I grind. I do what I got to do. So I'll make more money legitimately than you're going to make in the streets out there now because there's nothing left, bro. There's nothing left out there. If you ain't got like an offshore gambling spot where you're fucking making, millions of dollars a year, or you ain't got a construction company under your belt and you're not the guy on the top, you're not making a fucking quarter. You're kidding yourself, And there's guys out there right now. I'm going to tell you this right now, Bill. There's guys out there right now who are street guys. And they're going to say, oh, fuck him, that rap motherfucker, bullshit, this, that. But at the end of the day, they're going to go home and they know that what the fuck I'm saying is real. And they know it's true because they think about it every fucking night. They just don't know how to get away from it. They don't know how to walk away from it. They don't know how to exit it because they got family, they got this, they got that. So they're trapped, some of these guys. But inside, they're dying to cooperate. They're dying to get the fuck out of that life because they know what I'm saying is true. And that's the bottom line. But
sometimes their whole families are involved and they're kind of like woven into
not
it.
Only that, but you got to understand this. There's many guys right now, me and you are sitting here jawing right now, right? We're talking. There's guys right now who are big guys in crime gangs that have been cooperating with the government for fucking double-digit years, man. And if you think they're not, you got to be fucking delusional because there's a lot of guys out there who never went to jail. How come those guys have never been called into question? Like, the FBI decimated my neighborhood. Everybody went to prison. Everybody. There was more single mothers in my neighborhood than anywhere in the country. And you want to tell me that these guys, they were smarter than everybody else? You want to tell me? Come on, give me a break, bro. You're not smarter. You're on the fucking payroll.
It's like a rite of passage, right? To go to prison and do some time.
Well, these guys are on the payroll from the government, and they're giving information when needed. Why do you think when a guy gets straightened out today, people know who that guy is even before the ceremony's over? What do you think they get this information from? These guys are fucking telling, bro. 100%. That's why guys can't trust each other no more. That's why that life is done. You got 2 or 3 guys you grew up with that you could trust. You know that they're your homies. They're going to be there for you regardless. You stick with those guys. You rob and you never report what you rob, because if you report what you rob, the guy that you're giving the money to, kicking up to, that's the guy who's going to tell on you. Or that's the guy that's cooperating with the government already.
The guy ordering you to do it, right?
That's how fucking twisted the life has gotten over the years. That's how twisted it is. So, listen, I'm not a self-righteous guy. I'm not whatever. I did what I did for myself, what was best for me at the time. Now, I sacrificed a lot in my life. I gave my life to these people. I took my life back, bro. So if I die tomorrow, at least I die on my terms, bro. I die on my terms. And I'm not afraid of that shit, If my past comes back to haunt me and bullets are going to start flying, I tell you, I'm going out squeezing, brother.
Yeah.
And that's the way that's going to be.
I got to ask you a question. A lot of people have been asking me to ask you this. Now that Junior fought 4 trials, or how many ever he fought, and now he's out and he kind of walked away from the life. How do you feel about him, and how do you feel that he is?
I don't feel any way about Junior. You know what? If he walked away and he's making a life for himself, God bless him. To be honest with you, honestly, God bless you. I don't think that Junior actually walked away. I think they chased Junior. That's my personal opinion. Because in that life, when you're holding a position like Junior, you're just not retiring, brother. You're just not retiring. And anybody tells you they're retiring, it's full of shit. You understand? They'll call you and they'll use you to the day you die. That's what these people do. They use you any way, shape, or form. Junior had a meeting with the FBI. He was queen for a day. That's public knowledge. Okay, so queen for a day means that he sat there, he spoke about crimes that he committed with the full knowledge, knowing that the government cannot hold it against him because he's queen for a day. He felt them out to see what it was during the trial that I cooperated on. And at that first trial in 2005, he met with the government to see if he could make a deal. He decided against it, and he walked away. But from my neighborhood, bro, where I come from, the way I was raised, the way we fucking walked around, the minute I meet an FBI agent for a cup of coffee, my life is over.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is this. The minute he met those people, he put his life in total danger. And he can try to twist it any way he wants. And I'm not saying he is twisted. I'm just saying he can twist it any way he wants. But he knows the rules of the street. His father would have never been an FBI agent. Because his father knows that the minute you meet with them, even if you were there trying to feel them out, you just put yourself in jeopardy, brother. Nobody's going to trust you after that. And in my neighborhood, you get 2 in the back of your head to meet the FBI. Whether it be for 5 minutes or 5 hours. It don't matter. And that's the whole idea. Now, the shit fell where they may. He beat the trial, God bless him. It wasn't in the cards for him to go to prison. I believe in fate. I believe in that shit. And it just wasn't meant for him. And you know what? If he's making the best of his life, God bless him at this point.